A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and I'm going to go ahead and just simply say a couple things first off before I begin this video here, because these over here are the sign that I'm coming back with some more unofficial podiatry. And I am actually starting to wonder if I should make it an official podiatry series, but at the moment I'm not exactly correlating the whole process to simply make up for this. But since I haven't done anything like this in months now, I feel like it probably might be the right time to do it. So right here, I'm going to talk about a couple things in relation to durability when it comes to having footwear in general. But specifically in ties into my natural foot gear related footwear, I do seem to have different ways of use of each and every pair of natural foot gear related products that I typically use on a daily basis. But what I got here are a few products of mine that I do have, some of which are older than others, but I will be perfectly honest about the whole thing. It's all different. But it all depends on how much regular maintenance and care is being administered, and at the same time how typical it is of daily use you are putting your own products through. But in order to get your own money's worth out of any of these products in general, let me go ahead and start off by simply saying that these were my first pair of Injinjis. Now, this pair right here is the Mini Crew midweight, padded with the ankle cuff around it, as you can probably see. Of course, it's still fully intact, and it still does work great, as a matter of fact. These are the oldest that I've got out of all Injinjis that I currently have. I have more than 25 pairs at this moment. But, of course, since the fact is that they've been around for 2.5 years now, and they still work pretty good. But one thing that I do notice that's much different than when I first got them out of the packaging and I first tried them on back in August of 2017 was that these, they don't seem to be very stretchy or flexible as much as they used to. And it's not just because of the fiber that's aging and the like. It tends to contract with certain temperature changes and other environmental proceedings that take place. But it's also because of how I tend to take care of these. There were times when I had these thrown in the washing machine and set to a normal or casual level, which kind of makes the temperature rise to a point where it kills off the flexibility in each fiber. And it does make it more susceptible to breaking, but lately I haven't had any problems with putting these on, only to find out that the seam popped or something else entirely. But as opposed to my most recent pair, which is these ones right here, these Injinjis were part of the Everyday box set, which I bought recently. Not even a week ago, to be precise. And there were 4 pairs that looked kind of like this, except the other 3 had different patterns of, well, light teal and red on them. And this one's just how it is, but compared the two here, this is my oldest pair and this is my newest pair of Injinjis, but everything else in between, it kind of just all depends on fiber construction and other materials that are blended in to create the shape of the sock and keep its overall figure intact at all costs. But at the moment, considering the fact that these have survived for 2.5 years, several times they've been washed in the washing machine in the same levels. I'm not entirely making a bad excuse about it, but these right here, they're perfectly fine, even though their flexibility is kind of lost. But in conclusion, I can say that Injinjis are probably supposed to be done in the correct way. Otherwise, flexibility might become a loss. That's the only con that I have about it, but everything else is kind of a pro in a way. So now I'm going to move on to shoes here. Of course, you might not be familiar, but I haven't had these on in a while. And for those of you who see me around in some everyday situations, well, I have the Lems 925. Other times I might have my Vibrams. But on some other occasions, you might see me wearing either pairs of my Ultras, but not necessarily my Lems Boulder boots, as I am in the process of having them traded in for a larger size, which could take a while, so probably tune into another unofficial podiatry related vlog of mine. But these right here are the Lems Primals, and of course they are fitted with Hickeys laces, just like any other shoe that I got, probably except for the Vibrams here, and the Lems 925s. And the main reason for that is because of the metal eyelets on them. Now, the metal eyelets do make it difficult for Hickeys to put on them, and they can snap after some time, which is pretty disappointing, actually. But I suppose that, depending on what kind of eyelets you have on your shoes or boots or anything else, just be sure that the Hickeys are going to do just fine, otherwise they might break very well. Now, going on to the undersole, if you look at my Vibrams here, though, for example, you can see that even the smallest details are still fully intact. And it's not only because I haven't been wearing them very often in the last, 8 months or something like that, but it's also because of the fact that the kind of materials that they use, which isn't exactly injection-blown rubber outsoles, but these kind of rubber outsoles are just heavily lugged, and this does in fact help enhance durability. And also the density of the material happens to correlate to the type of durability levels, which are outstandingly high. Now, for IBR outsoles, it can kind of be a problem. Now, with my 925s, for example, you can probably tell it's been through a lot. But I've made temporary fixes of that with some Flex Seal products, especially Flex Shot, to help create a new tread pattern, and Flex Seal Original Spray, or other sprays of the sort, just to help with keeping the shape intact, and also to help put on some new layers of the outsole so that the outsole doesn't break itself through. But in general, I could say that IBR outsoles can wear off over time, depending on how much you use them. There have been a lot of everyday situations where I have to use these, but with Vibrams, like mine here, it's more of an occasional thing that I happen to do a couple times a year or so, simply because of the fact that, well, it's not like I have a problem with my Vibrams or any of my shoes in general. Natural footgear products happen to be a really big deal for me nowadays, especially given to the fact that proper foot health needs to be administered at all costs. But in conclusion, I could say that durability levels amongst all natural footgear products that I currently own across the board, they happen to be doing just fine. But it all depends on how much I use them. With my 925s, because I happen to use them very, very often in conjunction to my Vibrams, or sometimes even any of my other pairs of shoes, like both of my Ultras or even my Primals down here, I can say for sure that IBR is a bit weak. And anyone who does construct outsoles that are extremely flexible, they might see the same problem that I'm facing, but anyone who wears these, good luck out there. So, right now I'm not really having a lot of ideas in place, but I'm hoping that more unofficial podiatry related content comes soon. And I will in fact have as much coming this year. So, if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.